Hey guys, Horror Man back for another review. So today we're going to go ahead and take a look at a classic NECA figure. Recently I did a review on Chucky from Child's Play 3, and in the same review I also did Chucky from the Seed of Chucky movie. I was talking about a lot that I had bought off of eBay of several classic NECA figures, and this is actually one of the biggest primary reasons I bought this lot. And this is Sam from a movie called Trick or Treat. Now this movie came out back in 2006, and it was a pretty good little classic styled horror movie. It contains a few short stories, and the main character being Sam, this little guy with the potato sack mask. I don't want to reveal too much about him right now, but in this review you're definitely going to see some things that might spoil the movie for you, so just keep that in mind. So Sam is basically based off a little cartoon short that was done in 1996, and he went on to star in his own movie. And even though it was a few short stories, he was actually in each different. So just like all NECA figures, NECA has put a lot of detail into this Sam figure. Now these classic figures may not have had as much articulation as the more modern NECA figures, but the actual sculpts, likenesses, and paint apps were phenomenal. You can see there's a lot of details in here, and Sam basically wears this kind of onesie type of outfit like a kid would wear. So let's get right into that head sculpt. So the head sculpt is really well done on this figure. The mask is obviously the best look for the figure. You can see he has this kind of like a sack style mask to him, and it has stitching that goes all the way from the front down to the back and even into this kind of piece at the bottom that drapes around his shoulders. And he's got this signature stitched kind of grin here, and of course the two button eyes. So really, really nice details. You can even see in the front where the stitching goes all the way down the middle as well. Now, you're not going to get a lot of movement out of this. You can get a little bit of turn along with this neck part, but the actual head itself really doesn't turn too much. I was kind of hoping it was on some kind of ball joint, but you really don't get really any articulation out of it. So that's the one little downside about it, just because of this neck piece is connected. But yeah, you're not going to get too much articulation. So this is kind of more like a statue style figure. Now taking a look at the closer details of Sam's outfit, you can see these little like patches that he has right here and here, and they're in a nice kind of like faded brown type of color. And then you can see he's got these little like fingerless style gloves, and they're also kind of dirty. And over to the back of the figure, again, you could see a lot of like that same kind of detail here. He's got this little pouch in his rear, just like any of those like kind of onesies would have. And then down to the feet, he's got just like these little white tips on the toes, and you can see a lot of those like same kind of wrinkles and detail that you did in the upper part of the body. So really, really nice, nicely detailed and well painted figure. Just what we would expect from the classic NECA figures. So there's no doubt as far as articulation, Sam is definitely very limited. But the way this figure really is going to win you over is by the accessories. So the first thing is going to be his signature weapon, which is this little like broken lollipop, and it sounds kind of funny, but this is actually what he used to kill different people in the movie. So the lollipop has this kind of clear style to it, so it really looks like a real lollipop. And it just goes right into his hand, and you can just push that down into there, and he holds it nice and firmly in his hand. So definitely a must. If you have Sam, you're definitely going to want his signature weapon in his hand. This second weapon is even stranger. It's basically what we always fear on Halloween in our trick-or-treat bag. It's a chocolate candy bar with a razor blade sticking out of the end. And that's just going to go right into his left hand. And he holds it nice and firmly just like that. And you can see the details on that. So very interesting weapons and very unique. So of course that's not it. You also get this really cool display base, which has kind of like a graveled look to it with pegs sticking up out of it for his feet, and of course you have the fall leaves on it. And then Sam, of course, has the 2 peg holes on his feet, and he could just stand right on here like so. Alright, so here he is on the display base, and of course that's not it either. You actually get way more accessories than this. You're going to get this really cool pumpkin that has like the X'd out eyes and this flames kind of like shooting out of it, which is really cool. And again, it has that nice like textured look, just like the figure and the base do. It's got this really nice texture going on here, and you can just display that wherever you want. And then you also get this pumpkin here, which is just a carved pumpkin, and again, it still has that same really great texture to it. Great paint job on all these parts, and yeah, you could just kind of display that also wherever you see fit. And then one other main accessory for him is the sack that he carries, well, whatever he wants to carry inside. And you can see it's got kind of like some lumps in here. It looks like some blood soaked on here, so you can only imagine what's in this sack. But you really can't see exactly what it is. So you can just kind of display that next to Sam. You can wrap it around his hand or whatever you want to do. But it's a really nice, needed accessory for this character. Now, one other accessory this comes with that is my absolute favorite, and again, there is spoilers on this video, so if you haven't seen Trick or Treat, you don't want to know what he looks like underneath that sack mask, then you may not want to watch the rest of this review. But here it is. This is the face of Sam, and this thing is so cool. He's almost like Pumpkinhead, basically. He's got this same type of texture as the pumpkins do. You can see the lines kind of going up the sides of the head and the front, and he's got these creepy, dark, like shading around his eyes, and his eyes are really deep set back in there, if you could see them. And he's got this really creepy, almost like a skeleton / alien style face to him. So really, really, really nicely done. Very impressed with this. This is no doubt my favorite accessory that he comes with. And let's go ahead and put this different interchangeable head on Sam. So just like we saw before, Sam does not have articulation in this head here. And it's most likely because all this is attached. So you have to take this off. And then you're going to go ahead and put the new head sculpt on. And you really got to put some pressure on this. Alright, and then here he is. There's Sam with the unmasked head sculpt. And again, this is very detailed. It's got that really nice texture going on with it. Again, really, really impressive. Alright, so all in all, I'm very, very happy with this figure. Yeah, the articulation isn't nearly as good as the new quality that NECA offers, but they do not make this figure anymore. They don't have the license, so this is the best we're going to get. Now, this is the Cult Classics version. They made 2 different versions of this figure, but they're the same exact figure. The difference is that you get a lot less accessories. So with the Cult Classics version, this will be the most expensive one most likely, and I kid you not, this goes for over $100 at times. I recommend if you could find it in a lot like I did, you can get a better price on it. But the Cult Classics version, like I said, is you get everything seen here. Both weapons, the sack, the interchangeable unmasked head, the 2 pumpkins. So it's a really, really great, great setup. And like I said, the accessories are obviously the draw to this. Now, just in case you get the Hall of Fame version, I believe it's a Hall of Fame version, it's basically the carded version of this one. It comes in a little bit different packaging. I actually like the packaging of that one a little bit better just because you get that classic cardboard card. But like I said, this Cult Classic version, it comes in the blister card. You're going to get all these accessories. If you do get the Hall of Fame version, what you're going to get is you are going to basically get only the Sam figure with the 2 weapons and just the flame pumpkin. So this is the difference between the Cult Classics version and the Hall of Fame version. So, you know, I would wait out for the Cult Classics one, but if you could find a good price on just the Hall of Fame one, get whichever one you can. But, you know, personally, the interchangeable head and the accessories are far worth more than just these 2 pieces. Alright, so just like all my other reviews, I love doing some comparisons. So let's take a look at Sam next to Michael Myers. And you can see that they match up pretty well together. Sam is a kid, so he would be maybe a little bit smaller than he is, so he's not quite in that 7-inch scale. But they still look really cool next to each other. Now here he is next to the albino predator, which is also very fond of the orange. But this is an 8-inch figure. They match up a little bit better next to each other, but again, predator would probably be a little bit taller. So yeah, not quite in the 7-inch scale. Here he is next to the retro Mego style NECA Freddy from Part 2, The Revenge. You can see he's a little bit bigger than the 7-inch versions. This is an 8-inch figure. They match up pretty nice together. Sam's head's still a little bit big, but the mask itself is a very big, round mask. So these actually look pretty well in scale together. Again, maybe he's just a little bit tall than he should be. Now, NECA sometimes doesn't get everything in that 7-inch scale, so if you want, you can maybe put Chucky in here next to Sam, and it looks a little bit better here. These guys are actually really nice in scale. Now, of course, Chucky's head is a lot bigger, but the actual height is pretty good. And for the final comparison, here he is next to the classic Gremlin Gizmo. And these guys look pretty cool next to each other. Gizmo's maybe a little bit bulkier than he probably should be to be in scale with Sam, but as far as the height scale, they look pretty good next to each other. Alright, so that's my review on Sam. Again, I would highly recommend this figure. You know, don't expect all that articulation and such that you get from these NECA toys today, but definitely expect extremely good paint, very good details, and an amazing array of accessories. This is definitely one of my favorite Cult Classics figures from NECA. Now, one thing that doesn't really make any sense is that when they made this figure, it wasn't really a classic film. It was actually fairly new, if not very new, when it came out. The figure itself came out in, I believe, the mid to late 2000s, and along with the movie. So, I mean, it's a Cult Classics line, but yeah, it's not really a classic movie. So I think this is one of those figures that people probably overlooked back in the day, and it's probably why it's really gone up in price. As the character's kind of been out over time, the popularity's gotten good, and, you know, the price goes up. So, again, thanks for watching my review, and if you want to get Sam, you could find him on eBay, or maybe you can find him in some specialty comic shops. So, until next time, guys, please subscribe, like my review, comment or question, and happy Halloween! Ha 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 ha.